You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
Hello and welcome into another 3-Mile Pod. I am John Kurtz. Today, flying solo without my two co-hosts. No Derek Young, no Cole Manbeck, but that's okay. I'm here, and I'm very happy to be joined by Treshaun Ward, one of the new Kansas State Wildcats that we are thrilled to watch this year step into the shoes of Deuce Vaughn in that loaded K-State backfield. As always, we appreciate our sponsor, Holiday Distillery, bringing you not only Ben Holiday bottled in bond bourbon, but 360 vodka. Whichever you prefer, make sure you go out and get that. Support them. Support those who support us here on this podcast. Whatever it is that you're celebrating out on the boat, whatever you're doing this summer, make sure you have your Ben Holiday bottled in bond bourbon or your 360 vodka. Holiday Distillery, great K-State folks that help support us here on the 3-Mile Pod. So we appreciate everything that they do for us. But as I mentioned, Treshaun Ward is with me here on the pod, new K-State running back, transfer from Florida State. He's got a great story with how he caught on at Florida State before earning his way there and then coming to K-State to replace Deuce Vaughn this year in the backfield. But Treshaun, I appreciate you taking the time to join us here. Just what has life been like for you since coming to K-State?
Life's been pretty good for me. You know, that was probably my biggest coming here as far as K-State, you know, being able to be accepted and like coming into a new environment is something that I'm not usually comfortable around. And it's been good for me as far as like, you know, it's kind of night and day with the weather here, you know, it's pretty cold here and whatnot. But, you know, I wanted to be around something like that since, you know, if I have plans on going to the next level, I'm going to obviously have to be playing those conditions. So it was just a good opportunity for me as far as like, you know, having the guys and some veterans coming back and having a good teammates to welcome me when I came in.
Yeah, no doubt. It seems like the culture is in a really good spot there right now. What was that process like to pick K-State and just the entire re-recruitment process, so to speak, when you were going through the transfer portal? Because, I mean, you know, we hear stories. It sounds like it can be pretty crazy and hectic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, when I took a visit here, you know, I had visit around the facility and whatnot, and after I got on my the plane ride back to Florida, you know, one thing that really stuck with me is that the whole O-line was coming back. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, as far as me being a running back, you know, you're only as good as your O-line, obviously. And, you know, with the most successful running backs nowadays are, you know, typically behind those guys that block well. So that was a big thing for me as far as like they all coming back in the chemistry. And, you know, they were successful last year in what Deuce Vaughn did and how they used them as far as like being versatile. What also ultimately got me here. And it was like once the as far as like the family, the word family, and when I was on my plane afterwards, you know, I got in a chat with Will and some of the other guys, you know, they were chopping it up with me, trying to get me to come here. And you know, I just felt like the family atmosphere before I'd even decided about coming here. So it was a unique change for me, and I wouldn't, you know, regret making this decision.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Will Howard there. What's that relationship like, and how important was it for you to see like what that guy did last year, leading K-State to a Big 12 championship, and what he put on film, what he can do for the offense?
Yeah, it opened my eyes, you know, when the quarterback of the team came and texted me, because, you know, with other visits and, you know, other people I was talking to, not many people was, you know, had their starting quarterback come and talk to me. So that meant a lot to me. And when I first got here, as far as like getting the plays down and learning them and, you know, going throughout practice, he'll always make sure I'm straight as far as knowing what I'm doing. And he'll even coach me up or if I need to do this or that. So, and we also plan on having some sessions because, you know, with me this spring, it was kind of a little testing for me since I wasn't really full go. I had a cast or whatnot. So I was really trying to get the memo of the plays and how practice goes and just a different culture around here. So once this off season's come and, you know, summer come around, plan on start like getting with him and seeing like the quarterback eyes when it comes to offense. And, you know, with him being a veteran and him doing what he did last year, just open up his path for greatness when it comes to the next level.
How do you see yourself in this K-State offense? Is it a Deuce Vaughn type of role, catching it out of the backfield in addition to obviously taking carries?
That was something that was heavily talked about since, you know, I had some, like, my first few years, I had some catches and, you know, I had some receptions, some yards about that. And one of the first things the offensive coordinator and my running back coach told me that I have to be versatile at the backfield. That as far as like catching the ball at the backfield, running receiver routes and being able to be utilized out there. So with that being said, I had no problem with that because I wanted to be used out in the backfield, and that's only going to help me in my path to the next level. And I haven't really been able to, showcase that, but the way they use their offenses and their players and their playmakers, they ultimately put them out there where they can be versatile.
Going back to your time at Florida State, one thing I think that, like, if people are unfamiliar with the story, I would encourage them to go read about it because it's really cool. I mean, you had to walk on to Florida State and had to go a couple of years before you get put on scholarship, and then you wind up making a huge impact, obviously, in your last couple of years there in Tallahassee. What was that journey like to go from walk on to now, like, you're the guy and you have all these places recruiting you in the portal when you're leaving Florida State?
It definitely was different. It definitely was a humbling experience for me because I can say when I was in high school, I was recruited by, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but I was recruited and I had some good schools, and I was actually committed to Maryland at once when I was a senior. But it was a situation that happened there with, Coach Durkin and the staff and the player, and, ultimately had to make a decision best for me. And that time, when the signing period came and all the other schools that had their guys, they had their guys, and I was calling them and trying to get a spot, anywhere Division I, just to, make my name come out. And they already had signed their guys and already had their class, thought about, so I couldn't get into there. And then it was one day, I think it was before that summer period, Florida State had came to my coach about the walk-on spot, and I didn't really know what a walk-on was then, but I just seen it as an opportunity to play football, and obviously with it being Florida State, it's not just far for Tampa, so my family can come see me play. And when I say it was a humbling experience for me, I was always like, I wouldn't say I was always one of the best on the team, and I was highly, oh, he's gonna do good, he's gonna do that, and then coming to college, and you're surrounded by all these other guys who are the same guys in their, respective towns, and like you got to beat out those type of guys, and who knows what type of ability you have as far as like speed or agility and maybe vision as well. So like it's just like coming to that environment and me having to actually set out and actually have to work to what I want to be today. It was humbling for me, but I can't I can't regret none of that because as far as that goes, it ultimately built my character and my knowledge for the game as well. So going against those guys that's ultimately in the league now just only got me prepared for what I was going to be doing now.
I'd imagine like that probably puts a chip on your shoulder more too, right? Because you had to earn it more than some guys did at the beginning of your career.
Definitely.
Treshaun Ward is talking with me here. So we talked about this a little bit, but for those who haven't seen you play or haven't seen any of the highlights of Florida State, like how would you describe your style as a running back and what you're going to bring out there on the field when you play?
So somebody I can compare myself to that I do a lot of film study and I watch a lot is Le'Veon Bell. And during high school, with his patience and like how he waits for the blocking to come and, waiting for his lineman to get on the guys that he's going to be blocking, it's phenomenal. And I kind of took away his style of his game and implemented it in mine, and try to be patient, wait for my blocks to develop, and ultimately play cat and mouse with the linebackers, because that's ultimately what it is at the end of the day. They make it wrong, shooting the gap, they shoot it wrong or at the wrong time, I just make a cut off that, and if my lineman is in the best position, then it's going to help me offensively. So that, and as far as like cut, I like to make people miss, and it just came about when I was on scout team too. Like, I was trying different stuff as far as like cutting and like spinning, like, just trying to open up my playbook as far as like what I can do on the field. And that's been really a good thing about me, is about, making people miss, and then also been trying to get to the end zone as well. So I feel like I'm elusive, I got a little power too. I think a lot of people kind of don't look at me as that, because like, he's a smaller guy, you can probably, hit him and do all that. But I have a something called like contact balance where like, I don't really get like hit a lot, but I can take hits, which shows toughness. So that's how I describe my game.
It's interesting you say that, because like obviously we talked to Deuce Vaughn before, and he talks about things like that, like being like how you can use your height and your size to your
Yeah,
advantage
definitely.
sometimes. Did you get a chance to talk to him during the recruitment process at all? Like, have you swapped notes with him?
Yeah, I think before like pro day, I think before he had his pro day here, he had came in the locker room and chopped it up with some of the guys around and us as well. And after his like what he did after pro day and what led up to pro day and what he had to do as far as like his body and training, he had came and talked to us as a running back group and what he had to do. And it just opened my eyes because, seeing him do what he did and the success he had on at K-State, and ultimately he got the opportunity to go play at Dallas, and it just shows testimony that what you got to do to be able to be at that next level, you got to start doing it at right now. So hearing it come from him, and a guy that just got recently drafted and then recently had greatness here, just was a testimony to me.
Genuinely curious here, and if the answer is not much, that's totally cool. But how much did you know about K-State, or what did you know about K-State before you hit the portal and they started recruiting you?
Well, I had a few buddies come here. I kind of knew what K-State was, and I didn't even know Jordy Nelson went here, but I knew Tyler Lockett did come here, and then Darren Sproles and whatnot. But I kind of knew about them since my teammates went here, and ultimately with me being a running back too, and seeing Deuce Vaughn. When I was at Florida State, I seen this little thumbnail at the bottom and seeing him play. So I know a little bit about it. And, as far as like, winning the Big 12 and getting on spot, playing at Alabama and all that stuff. So it just, moved me more towards it. And once I came here and heard about the culture here and like family being implemented almost around every part of the facility, it's just like, give you a place like home.
Who are those teammates you were talking about that were here that you knew?
I think his name AB. It was last name Brown. I know he played DB. And Josh, he was like a kick returner specialist. He was a receiver. He went to Berkeley Prep too, but he transferred to Rutgers.
Oh yeah. Okay, Josh Youngblood. Yeah. Okay, got it. Well, we've got Treshaun Ward with us here. Let's take a quick 30-second break. We'll be back in just a minute with some more with the new K-State running back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
All right, Treshaun. So if I ask you about like Chris Kleiman and what he was like during the recruitment process, your relationship with him, just how would you describe what Chris Kleiman is like as a coach?
Business. And, he had a plan for like, as far as my visit, he had a plan for me. And like, when it comes to watching film and how my game was in the film he watched on me, and then comparing it to how they implement their playmakers on the offense, it just opened my eyes. And as far as like, how like the offensive schemes and stuff like that, it's just so similar to like an NFL playbook. So it was more pro style. And as far as like, he's an actual quarterback that was up for the Heisman, I think, here. And, he had success here as well. So like he was in the same shoes as me at one point, but different positions. So he knows like the plan and what to get to that national championship and like, to the championship as far as like the Big 12. So, and with him being a quarterback, as far as that goes, like, he has knowledge about defenses and like what he looks for and what a quarterback's ultimately looking for. So with him being ultimately like the same shoes as us, going through the same path, and him being a quarterback, the success he had ultimately had a big decision on my part because, that's my offensive coordinator. So he has to have to plan, how he's going to utilize me.
Curious too, DJ Giddens is a guy who got some action behind Deuce Vaughn last year in the backfield. And I think, a lot of us have high hopes for him too. What's the relationship like between you two and just what have you been able to see out of him so far?
I remember my first day here, we was walking to lunch and we was talking and whatnot, and he had a similar spring as me as far as like, being modified and whatnot. And everybody know around, K-State, DJ's a real like to himself guy, and, he says a few words, and ultimately like I try to get as much words out of him possible. But, whenever I do talk to him, we talk and like, try to, chop it up and whatnot. But as far as like captain practices going on, as far as when we was doing spring and, the guys were going out there doing the 7-on-7s and stuff like that. He was also helping me out sometimes too, and as far as like signals and stuff. So, he was a big part too, as far as like welcoming me. Cause obviously we don't talk as much and, he's more to himself, but, his presence is there.
Who are you closest with on the team so far, just since you've been there?
I'll be with my guys. I like, hang around Anthony, Trey, Ingram, the new freshman. And I hang around Jaden Jackson, the transfer from Ole Miss, and the transfer from Mississippi State, Javon, since we were roommates. And RJ as well, since he's from Temple.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Well, have you seen RJ's star growing on social media here with all these videos they've been releasing to him?
Yeah.
What's are we ever gonna get Treshaun Ward to sit down one-on-one with him?
Definitely. It's gonna be a show too. Definitely.
What's something about RJ Garcia you could tell us that we might not know?
He's a character. I guess you can see it on the show itself, but he's definitely a character, man. He's funny. Like, I can kind of relate to him more since we've been like, from the same cities and whatnot. We can kind of relate to, Tampa and this and like, as far as like places to go. But he's a funny dude, man. He's a funny dude to be around, man. Okay.
All right, so Tallahassee and Manhattan. I know you brought up like, hey, it's a little bit colder in Manhattan. I can definitely vouch for that. But what are the differences between the two? How different is it being in Manhattan as opposed to Tallahassee?
I say probably like the nightlife. It's a lot of distractions in Tallahassee as far as like the nightlife and clubbing, and we be having we have Florida State and then FAMU right across the street. So it's a lot of ways to get distracted. But when it comes to here, we do have like a nightlife as far as like Aggieville and stuff like that, some bars and stuff. But it's really not that many distractions. I feel like it was a perfect place for me to be able to focus what I really wanted to focus on, which is football and school and get to that next level.
Have you been able to spend enough time to scope out like your favorite food spots or just places to hang out in Manhattan so far?
I know I went to my visit, and I actually came to can't remember the place, but I know it's in Aggieville, and I had tried some of this. No, I can tell you about the Rockin' K's right across the street from the facility. And I remember when I first came here, they was talking about like the pancake wings. I never heard it before, and they were saying they had tried it with syrup and whatnot. But when me and my grandpa came out there and we tasted it, it was pretty different. Like I never tried pancake wings before. But there's some other spots that where I go to in Aggieville. I think it was O'Malley's. I think it was O'Malley's.
Yeah.
O'Malley's, yeah.
Yeah,
there you go. Stuff there. So
yeah, that's a good start. That's definitely a good start. I noticed just from looking at, I think it was like your teammates, when your teammates were shouting you out when you announced that you were transferring and hitting the portal, like everybody was calling you 8-Ball. So I assume that's the nickname for Florida State. Does it just come from the jersey, or is there more significance to the nickname behind it?
Yeah, there's more to the jersey since I'm number 8, and since we have like the double number rule around. Like, obviously people want to be calling each other by their numbers and whatnot, but, you got to be specific since, two people might have the same number. So, yeah, it was just more of a, since I just got an 8 and what I do to earn it. So that was probably like the first thing that came to mind.
What, speaking of spring practice, we talked a little bit about that earlier. After watching the team through spring, or just your observations of what this team is and what they have, like tell me why. Make the case for why you think K-State and this offense in particular can win another Big 12 championship.
I feel like experience and, the discipline is a big key to that. And when I say like, discipline and, experience, we have like an old whole line coming back. And as far as like that goes, that's big. And then Atten, Peace, and Will, and then Phil and the receivers that are going to be coming up, and some of them that's going to have the opportunity to play. And as far as like spring goes, some of them molded into characters they're going to be this upcoming season. And having experience like at the running back position, and like as far as me, I can bring another sense of experience since I already been playing college football, and I can express those through the young guys as well. So this was like obviously caused them to grow up, being around those people that been, in areas of growth. And this just brings competition around the room too. So it only makes us better, and then it allows for other people to be able to have shine and get their opportunity as well on the field. So which brings, our offense to a whole nother level, which means like when everybody win their one-on-one battles, we can be filthy.
All right, the last thing for you here, just any message that you want to leave to K-State fans about you and the team and just your time coming to Manhattan here.
Man, I won't regret none of it. And K-State fans, just want to tell y'all we up for a season. We're trying to go back to back this year, and I'm trying to have a amazing season and hopefully to be implemented in the community more here. I'm trying to get around the fans, trying to know around K-State. So definitely don't want to be that type of guy that's not implemented in the community. But yeah, man, and also show me some food places around here in town that I should be able to try out, because I'm still a few months in and don't have many food spots to get out there. So definitely hit me up with some food spots. But yeah, trying to get in the community more.
Well, I can throw a couple at you. I would say Taco Lucha. I would say Bourbon and Baker. Definitely Bourbon and Baker. Bourbon and Baker is a good spot for you.
Okay.
And we'll see. What's your Twitter handle? What people hit you up on Twitter with some suggestions?
Yeah, it's 9MXVI underscores.
Okay.
9MXVI underscore. So yeah.
All right. Go hit them up on Twitter, everybody. I know people will have a lot to send your way, so hopefully we'll get you right in Manhattan with all that. But
sure.
Treshaun, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. Super stoked to have you here in Manhattan and as a Wildcat. Can't wait to watch you this fall.
Thank you, man, for having me here.
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts, bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.